You know, I got a lot of people asking me now, how you gonna go from writing books to writing movies, and now you doing music? And I'm like, I've been doing this, y'all just didn't know about it. And a lot of y'all must have forgot where I'm from. So I guess I gotta remind y'all that Philadelphia soul is international.
I came from the bottom to the top. I won't stop, no matter what they keep telling me. I drive to survive. You can't let no one tell you what to do. It's on you to make sure that you do what you do.
You don't know who Omar Tyree'S? Yes, you do. He is a Philly native and, more importantly, a Howard University alum. You know? Anyway, sorry, that's, gotta get excited. Anyway, so Mr. Tyree has written and published over 20 books, 5 of which are New York Times bestsellers, okay? I think that deserves a round of applause, don't you? So, not only that, but he has won a NAACP Image Award for literacy and fiction, also a Phyllis Wheatley Award for urban fiction. He has done a lot, he's done it all.
How you guys doing? I think you're 6 feet far enough.
How did you get into writing? How did you get yourself into the creative process from the beginning? Start from the beginning.
So I actually became a storyteller through having a great memory and loving stories. Going to the movies, loving stories. So my friends are not paying attention, I am. So when we come out the movies, if you say something wrong, no, that ain't how it went. This is how it went. And so I just had that great memory, great storytelling, great mimicking, and the whole nine, and I just kept going. When I got to college, they asked the whole subject of us writing to see what our writing skills would be. And I had not written, it was more verbal. I was doing verbal stories. When I got to college, they wanted you to write everything. So now it's like, all right. So I started writing and then adding all the details in the writing. And then the details, it took me to another level of writing where I was not an A student in English. I was a math and science guy like my mom. But once I started writing stuff at the college level, then it went steadily up, and then I started getting A's in English, and then it was like, at that point, I didn't want to waste the skill that I had. And I had a friend, I went to Pittsburgh before I transferred to Howard. I went to Pittsburgh for 2 years, and then I transferred to Howard for my last 2. And I had a friend, his name was Michael Quigley, and we had a student speak out with sophomore. I was a sophomore by then, and we had freshmen and sophomores, and he challenged me. He said, man, you talk so much about what you know and know how to do in storytelling, you should write a book or something. And then once he challenged me in front of the class, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna write me a book. And once I said that, everybody was like, you said you're gonna write it. Now this is back in like 1988. So we're not talking about writing books. We still ain't in the books yet. Back then, we had like maybe 3 book writers. Alice Walker, Toni Morrison, Dick Gregory, you know what I mean? You're going back. We didn't have contemporary book writers yet. And so once I got challenged to write a book, that was it. I went right to it. And I started writing my sophomore year at Pittsburgh. And then I finished 2 books, Colored on White Campus and Fly Girl, before I came to Howard. Well, when I do music, of course I grew up in the hip-hop era, the soul era, the funk era, the disco era. I got to Howard, they were listening to house music because they had that whole Chicago thing, Girl Loud House, I got the power, all that stuff. So when I got to Howard, they had these New York dudes doing all these soul dance things to house music. So Chicago was very strong, and then we had London music, Soul to Soul, Loose Ends, the brand new heavies. We had a whole lot. And so with me being 52 years old, I had heard so much completed music, not mixtapes, not somebody's, albums where they were in studio. We had albums. I used to buy albums every Tuesday. Tuesdays was the drop days. Young people don't know that now. They don't have Tuesday. But every Tuesdays, they had a place in D.C. called The Wiz. And I go to the Wiz and buy like 5 CDs, and at that time I was doing a lot of distribution in my car. So I'm driving up and down the East Coast listening to CDs all day long. And so my idea is like, okay, I want to say something and I want it to be funky. You know what I mean? So I always had music that was hot, but you wanted to say something on it too. And so my two hot groups, Public Enemy, they had hot music and they were saying something. And there was a group called Gangstar. Now they call themselves Gangstar, but Guru and DJ Premier was all about elevation and community. And that Gangstar, man, that was another one. So them two, but it's a whole lot of rap stuff that I like, a whole lot of R&B stuff that I like. Gospel music became really hot in the 90s. And so it's a lot of music that I know. I just want to put out music that you feel that says something again, like the era we grew up in. So people look at me as a book guy, and so they think it's like this whole mind trick where he can't do music, I won't listen to his music. And so like they look at you and it's like, you can't be doing music. So I'm gonna back up and just produce it.
Yeah. What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say? What they gon' say to me? What they gon' say?
As deep as these bass tones, they seem confused when they see a black Muslim girl with a bass guitar strapped to her back, as if they expected me to go quietly through this world they've built, as if they expected me to leave my vocal cords and bass amp on mute, but nah, we turn up and shout the names of everyone we've lost.
Hip hop has become so hip, it's gone pop. That's how hot 97 got 97% of our youths to listen to Star and Buckwild. But while they were doing that, we were doing nothing. Nothing but selling our medias and mediums like BET to Viacom, who buys our tongue, so we bite our tongue.
I want to give another shout out. We got Brother Staff right here. And his brother Staff been helping me out a number of years as well. He lives in the Baltimore area. And he met me down at the, Congressional Black Caucus years ago. Zane was there the same year, and we've been doing a lot of projects together. He has a new app called, what's the name of that app? Monetize. You can check that app out. It's a brother's app. And the question Tori asked me the question, how do we control our music? And that's a hard one. You know, how do we control our films? How do we control our books? Because it comes back down to capital and distribution. And if we don't have the capital and the distribution to control, that's a hard entity. In fact, I started talking about doing movies with my own distribution because of the COVID situation. We have a lot of theaters now, AMC, Regal, Movie Co., who lost a lot of business. And so I wanted to do my own movie distribution, go right to those guys and say, look, I can print my own movies, go right to you. But then you have to pay for the prints of every particular theater that has to have that particular screen that night. So you're paying for the prints of the movies. So you just have to pony up how much money you need to pay for all the prints and do the marketing so that we can control. Same thing with music. Now you have to control and monetize. He actually has a deal now with what? Universal, Sony, and Warner will allow you to stream the music and monetize. And my man Amos has Tenable Music, that's Tenable, Tenable Music with Amos, and he's also a publishing entity. And so that's how we try to control as much of our music as possible. Publishing, capital, and then distribution. Okay, so this right here, we had an album that I put out a while ago called Cold Blooded, which is the same concept where we're talking about, if I can find it, there it is. Same concept of putting out a soundtrack and a book. So Cold Blooded is a book, and we wanted to do a movie, and Aaliyah wanted to do movies. This is before she started doing movies, and I wrote Cold Blooded for Aaliyah and Morris Chestnut. Now we're gonna put all my music back out, so we're actually gonna get distribution in the next couple of months and put out my old CDs that I never pushed into the marketplace. And so Cold Blooded will be one of them. My first project was Rising Up. That's going to be another one we put out. And then with Tenable Music, we did something called Ghetto Therapy because we wanted to get these kids' heads right. So we did that concept. And I got other project called, I think Time Will Reveal or something like that. Sign of Time. Okay, and now we had another one last year I came out with called The Last Summer. So we got a lot of projects. Just stay close to my website, hotlavaentertainment.com. And then my Instagram is only one, Omar Tyree. Facebook is Omar Tyree. And then we got Twitter, Omar Tyree. So we want to jump into this first. This is one of the first poems I did way back in what, 99 or something, off of a jazz song, Genesis. And we want to run. It's track 3. We want to run that track 3. Track 3 off the CD, and we grab that one. Genesis. This is a track called Journey into Saturnine. It was just me and my Eve, some 500,000 years ago, walking barefoot across the world, standing 10 feet tall, and we named the birds, the bees, and all of the trees as we ran through the bushes, unafraid of the night, because the night and the day were one. You did, and my Eve, she was my partner. As we held hands tightly, I was a part of her, and she was a part of me. As we ran through the bushes, and it was all cool, man, because I had God on my side, with no translations, and we sat rapped about things on our minds, and lived to 1,000, able to see a nation rise. My, what we have done, my queen and I, while inside the bushes. Yes, you did, because we were down with no cause, because the world was ours, with no bombs, nor diseases, as the birds sang songs, as we ran through the bushes, and the sunlight shined on our black skins, as we drank with melanation, and we slept upon the earth with no beds, using flowers as our pillows, and the air was like perfume, bathing our naked bodies as we splashed inside waters that we could see through. We ran through the bushes, playing a game of tag from the north to the south pole, using the moon for navigation as we chased the sun from the east to the west, loving the winds that pushed us along as we sprinted without fatigue. Those were the nights and the days. You did, because we were at peace with one another. My Eve and my God, and the creatures on earth watched us in love, and they realized that we were the Trinity before Catholic, and we were perfect before Jesus came. Have you ever heard of us? Me and my Eve, we ran through the bushes, naked and unashamed, with no need to hide nor seek, because the earth was our playground as we ran round and round with perfect anatomy, creating human chemistry. And my Eve, she loved me because she could see me and my smile for miles as I picked her black roses. In the earth, there was no superstitions, nor superstitions, just us as we ran through the bushes, producing music with our footsteps that made lions roar, and owls hoot with no pollution. Man, can you dig it? My Eve, my God, and my world in perfect anatomy. We ran through the bushes at dark with no need for lights, because we had perfect sight. Like hawks and eagles, we soared through the heavens with no aeroplanes. Have you ever heard of us?
Monetize. Scan the QR code to get your personal invite to the platform where it pays to be social.